So the first of these three things that you must understand relates to the origin of the universe and life itself. Where did we come from? You know, we human beings have been asking this question for a long time. Every generation and every individual in every generation asks this question. And for the last, 150 years or so, at least, we've been asking people who are often referred to as scientists the question, where did we come from? And if we could get all the well-known scientists, biologists, paleontologists, etc., together from across the globe to one place, what would they tell us the answer is to our origin? Well, this is it essentially. We evolved from non-living matter by blind chance. Now, I can be more technical and more detailed in defining terms, but that really is their answer. Darwinian evolution is the theory that millions of years ago, lifeless matter acting upon natural forces gave origin to one or more living organisms which have since evolved into all living and extinct plants and animals, including man. Now that is, in a nutshell, Charles Darwin's theory, explained in his book, The Origin of Species, published in 1859. And since that time, it has become the dominant world view, widely accepted and taught as fact in universities, public schools, media references, nature programming, and on and on. Even the Catholic Pope, John Paul II, a number of years ago, consented to the godless theory of evolution to be taught in Catholic schools the world over. Well, there are really only two choices in the question of origins. Either we are the product, we as human beings are the product of blind chance, otherwise known as spontaneous generation, or we were designed and created along with the rest of the universe with intention and with purpose. And now begins the plain spoken truth. And I realize that in this age in which tolerance is upheld as the greatest virtue of all, and you're not supposed to make such absolute statements and definitive statements like this, I'm going to say it anyway and without apology because it's true. Point number one, Darwinian evolution is the biggest lie that has ever been swallowed by mankind, or at least one of them. Now I understand that just because I said it doesn't make it so. I intend to prove the point by evidence and fact, logic and reason, if you will stay with us. Well, there's many areas of study that are persuasive and convincing that we could appeal to, like the first and second laws of thermodynamics, biogenesis, the law of cause and effect, the fossil record or lack thereof, as the case may be, the laws of physics and genetics, all of which point to creation, that is intelligent design, not evolution. But I want to isolate our attention in the coming minutes on just one thing among many to prove that point, and that you and I are the product of God and not of blind chance. Let me make one other statement here before we carry on. I hope that as you listen to me, that you won't, after hearing the first point, that you won't think that you can just predict the rest, or I know what he's going to say next. I know what the second and the third point is going to be because I've understood his first point. Let me assure you that the second and the third point are probably going to take you by surprise. So please stay with us through the whole thing. Well, this realm of study that we've begun with, the idea of design, is generally known as teleology or the teleological argument. And it's simply that the purpose and design found in the natural world require a purposeful designer, or God. I think anyone recognizes that from the greatest galaxies to the smallest atom, things you cannot even see, demonstrate superb organization, design, and purpose. Hence, there must be a superb organizer and designer, a creator. And the following principle will be the test to determine blind chance or deliberate design. And here it is. This is the test over the next number of minutes that we're talking. This is the test that I want you to be applying in your mind. The more complex and intricate the design, the more remote the possibility it could have occurred by chance. Let me read that one more time. The more complex and intricate the design, the more remote the possibility it could have occurred by chance. So really, the thing that we want to know is, is it simple or is it complex? All right, that's what we want to keep in our minds. Is it simple or complex? All right? And there are many things that we could talk about. But this principle and this truth is known by all, from the youngest to the oldest. When I was a child growing up in the Piedmont of North Carolina, I used to walk in the plowed fields around my home where there were thousands of rocks in the fields where they would plant tobacco and corn and such. And I observed on any one hunt many thousands of rocks. But when I saw a rock among the thousands that was pointed, so you had, rocks of all kinds of shapes, but when I saw a rock that was pointed like this, and it had some detail to it and some symmetry to it, like this. There are many different shapes, of course, and it had, if you looked at the cross section of it, it had a thin elliptical cross section like that. If you were to cut it in half and look at it, it would look like this. You know what? I knew at 8 or 9 years old that what I had found here was more than just a rock, but that it was a rock that had been manipulated by man. Some man, an arrowhead, of course, in this case, but some man, perhaps thousands of years ago, left his unmistakable mark on this rock. And I knew it. And I've got some here to show you. This is a little sewing machine box that I've kept these in over the years. And here's a scraper of some kind, I believe, that I found. Here's an arrowhead. I hope we can see that. You can see that it's about the same shape as this, and that's an arrowhead. Most of the arrowheads that I found actually were only pieces of arrowheads and not the whole arrowhead. Like this one was likely a spear point. Let me put it on my shirt here. You can probably see it better contrast. And most of the ones that I found were broken, probably been broken by the plowing over the years. Here's one that's sort of diamond shaped, like this. But anyway, you can see I've got a whole little box of them here that I collected as a child. I haven't found any in a long time because I haven't had time to look for any in a long time. But I also found other things in there. This, for example, is a Civil War bullet. I found several of those. Here's another one. Lead, Civil War bullet. But these are things that, incidentally, this is something very rare that you won't see very often. I understand they're quite rare, and that is a Indian marble. Can you see that? And so I found that out in the fields as well.